welcome to the Armageddon TV YouTube channel. While the conflicts between the Ukrainian armed forces and the Russian army have intensified in the south and east of Ukraine, US-made multiple rocket launcher systems have started to make very serious differences in the region. Since the HIMARS M142 was sent to the Ukraine front by the USA, the Ukrainian armed forces has been gaining a serious advantage in the region and easily beating Russian army targets. Damages to ammunition depots and logistics networks reduce the power of the Russian army day by day and provide great convenience for a ground operation to be carried out by the Ukrainian armed forces in the coming days. After the HIMARS, the system sent to the Ukrainian army was the M270 multiple rocket launcher system. The M270 was expected to make a difference just like the M142, and already the M270 multiple rocket launcher system has begun to beat the Russian troops at the front. In the video released by the Ukrainian armed forces, the M270 rocket launcher systems are shown in active operation in the region. The Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Zaluzhny, for the first time released a video showing the combat work of M270 missile systems for distraction of the Russian invaders. In the images, it is seen 6 of the M270 multi-rocket launcher system, which can fire 12 missiles at the same time, are loaded and the rest are empty. A preliminary documentary is being made that even these attacks have a very severe effect and how they can cause destruction with 12 missiles at full load. The video also shows him in a vehicle similar to the British FV-103 Spartan. It is stated that the purpose of this weapon is to identify the targets of the M270 and hit them with full accuracy. With the arrival of M270s, which have more attack force and range than HIMARS, the scales are now expected to shift completely to the side of the Ukrainian armed forces. The M142 high mobility artillery rocket system and the M270 multiple rocket launcher system are very similar and fire the same missiles. Both are multiple rocket launcher systems, but their chassis are different. The M270 is tracked and the M142 can move faster than it and easily move around. However, the firepower of the M270 is twice that of HIMARS. It is not known exactly from which country these weapons came to Ukraine, but most likely the UK supplied these weapons to Ukraine. We need to talk about the M270s in more depth, but before that it is necessary to mention the latest operation of HIMARS in the region. HIMARS system destroyed 4 ammunition depots in Hanichevsky, Kherson, Kharkovsky and Berislav regions this week. Also, the M142 struck the Antonivsky Bridge in Kherson for the 3rd time. It blew up a railroad bellows on the Dnipro River and Russian logistics networks were completely cut off. In addition to HIMARS M142 destroyed a Russian train consisting of 4 wagons loaded with special ammunition yesterday, and at least 80 Russians were killed and 200 injured as a result of the attack. In addition, M142 also destroyed another ammunition depot in the Novokakhovka area of Kherson Oblast. In another attack carried out by the Ukrainian armed forces, footage was released of destroying 4 Russian artillerymen stationed in the forest area, ready to attack. It was stated that the howitzers damaged by the attack were MSTAS self-propelled howitzer batteries. According to the report, the howitzers that the Russian army tried to hide in the forest were detected by the unmanned aerial vehicle used by Ukrainian paratroopers. At least 1 vehicle caught fire as a result of the impact. Presumably, other self-propelled howitzers and trucks were also damaged by large-caliber artillery munitions. Military experts from the US military clearly state the support that HIMARS provides to the Ukrainian armed forces. Officials highlight the difference HIMARS makes, explaining how the high-motion artillery rocket system is particularly suited for Ukraine's fight against Russia. The Ukrainian armed forces can easily hit even the most sensitive targets with the HIMARS they use. This allows the Ukrainian army to hit the most critical targets of the Russian army, which is much stronger than the Ukrainian army. The main difference between HIMARS and M270 is that one is tracked and the other is wheeled. Since HIMARS are transported with wheeled carriers, they can easily adapt to any terrain and their mobility seems very advanced. M270s, on the other hand, were produced with tracks in order to work in harmony with tanks. For this reason, it is one step behind HIMARS, but there are many issues in which it is ahead. The M270 multi-launch rocket system is designed to perform combat missions at any time of the day and in different weather conditions. In particular, these tasks include defeating the destroying areas of concentration of troops and combat equipment, the position of the enemy's barrel and rocket artillery, the deployment area of his forces and air defense vehicles, cargo cars, lightly armored personnel from close firing positions. The M270 MLRS entered service with the US Army in 1983. Production of this vehicle ended in 2003. About 1,300 of these systems were manufactured for US military and exports customers. M270 has been exported to many countries. It is a standard NATO multiple launch rocket system. The M270 and its versions are used by Germany, Greece, France, Israel, Italy, Japan, Saudi Arabia, South Korea, Turkey, United Kingdom, and some other countries. This effective use of the weapon is so wide that so many countries can safely rely on this MLRS. The unique feature of the M270 is that it has no launch rail. Rockets are fired immediately from containers. Each disposable container holds 6 rockets. Rockets can be stored in containers for up to 10 years without any maintenance. The vehicle carries 2 such containers with a total of 12 rockets. See, this makes a huge difference. Because 12 missiles that can be fired without loading destroy the enemy positions at once, and it becomes impossible for the enemy to respond to this attack. The M142 HIMARS is a lighter version of the M270. The artillery systems is designed for Air Force and the US Marine Corps. The launcher is based on a 6x6 Army truck. HIMARS fires the same rockets and missiles as the M270 MLRS, but carries only 1 container instead of 2. Thus, HIMARS can carry 6 rockets or 1 missile. Thanks to its wheel chassis, the M142 HIMARS can be self-deployed over long distances without need for a trailer. The delivery of each of these special missile launch pads to Ukraine and their increasing presence day by day caused a major breaking point in the conflict with Russia. Now Ukraine has found a way to truly retake Kherson, possibly the largest Ukrainian city that came under Russian control at the time of its invasion. Kherson would be a great reward for Ukrainian forces to recapture. But it is unclear whether Ukraine will be able to continue an offensive to take the city or whether it has reserves for such an operation. However, it is clear that the Ukrainian armed forces want to continue this operation. Because if Kherson falls, the whole plan of Russian army will be turned upside down and Crimea will be in danger. It is known that Russian President Vladimir Putin cannot afford this. The pressure on Kherson is reducing the size of the Russian attacks in Donbass day by day. Because Russia had an obligation to secure its lines in Kherson before advancing in Donbass. For this reason, it moves its shipments in this direction. However, the fact that all the logistics networks in Kherson, which we have just mentioned, are hit by HIMARS and M270s makes this impossible for now. As long as Ukraine continues to receive support from the West, Kherson appears to be liberated by the Ukrainian armed forces. But the key to this job is in the hands of the West, and it is not known how long they will continue to help. The situation is uncertain at the moment due to the resignation of UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, but the candidates for the Prime Minister office are promising military aid to Ukraine. On the other hand, US defense officials and the White House guarantee support to Ukraine until the end. In this case, it seems unlikely that military support from NATO countries to Ukraine will be cut off. However, the timing of these deliveries is critical. If the Ukrainian armed forces do not receive adequate support when necessary, it may face serious difficulties. So far, this has not happened, and even in the defense of Kyiv, Ukraine had managed to repulse the Russians with very little military ammunition. We hope that Ukraine will regain its freedom by liberating Kherson and later all its lands.